Okay. Now I'm recording. Okay. So yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to this is my first podcast ever in my YouTube channel, and I promised myself to start creating vlogs, creating gameplays, creating content for my channel. And as I said in my about section, if you like my content, do like and subscribe. If you don't, then it's fine. But I hope you do check out some of my gameplays and some of the future contents that I'm gonna do. So, for 2021, this is my first ever podcast, and we're gonna talk about something very interesting. I'm here with my Irish Nigerian friend, Mr. Taiwo Olatunji. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I was we were friends back in Spain during my first year back in 2014. We were both English assistant teachers in high schools, in public high schools in Valladolid, Spain. So we both came up with this idea of recording podcasts and just getting our content out there and having people listen to it and see what happens. So this is my first podcast with him, and we're talking about something very interesting. But first, before I start, since I do have some students subscribe to my channel, this is an R18, R16 and above kind of topic. So I'm warning you, if you're not 16 and above, please do not listen to this. This is 16 and above strictly. So, this is the topic in hand right now is alcoholism. And why did I choose a topic? I was watching a movie. I watched the movie yesterday, and it's called Another Round. It's a Danish movie, and the whole plot of the film was that there are four teachers, high school teachers, who seem to be unmotivated with their jobs. They can't seem to teach the kids um, lessons properly and efficiently. So one of the teachers, because they're all close friends in the faculty, one of the teachers suggests, why don't we maintain a 0.05% blood alcohol concentration in our body, and they say that by maintaining this percentage, we can perform well, we can motivate ourselves better, and we can be more productive in our lessons. But as they maintain this 0.05%, they slowly succumb to what we all call as alcoholism. They all become these drunkards, and they eventually mess up, and they make a really big mistake of drinking on the job. The principal catches them, and they all screw up, and they all end up as alcoholics. But then it's not as dark as it seems to be. It actually gives you a lesson on that. Even starting at low levels, you do end up as an alcoholic if you do not control yourself. So now going back to to me and Tai. So Tai, I'm sure you've drunk a lot of times. You've had your own experience with alcohol. What is your take on basically on alcohol? Do you think we should drink a lot? Do you think we should start early? Yeah, I mean, what are your first thoughts when you think of the word alcohol? Hello.
Hey, sorry about that. There was
Yeah.
my mic just went a bit crazy there.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Good question. I think it really depends on the country. So, and it
Mm-hmm.
depends on your society,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously, as you know, in the United States, it's 21 and above.
Mm-hmm.
In other countries, they stick more to the 17 or 18 factor.
Yeah.
And to really have an understanding, I think you just need to take each country's specific cases. For example, maybe Germany might have a higher consumption of alcohol, but they don't have this issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think it's just a bit more there's no like a one size fits all for this kind of
Hmm.
question, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
But
And
but
that's
for
just really.
yeah, but for you as a European, someone who lives in Europe, and as a society, it's more open. How do people mm, like fare? Like, I mean, I heard that the Irish were heavy drinkers and they can get loud, and that's what alcohol does to the typical Irish guy. Whereas here in the Philippines, yes, we were also heavy drinkers, especially during the weekends. Well, actually during the weekdays as well. There are some people who actually go out and drink, but we don't get as rowdy as I've heard with some of the Europeans. What do you think of that?
Well, I think I'd be more interested to know, is it more taboo over there? So is it looked
Mm-hmm.
down on by society? So for example,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm here in Dublin and I'm walking down the street and I happen to be drunk, let's say at 11 p.m.,
Mm-hmm.
the way that people would react to me is very different in the way people would react to me if I was in the Philippines, correct?
Um, it would depend on where you would be when you're drunk. I mean, if you're
Mm-hmm.
drunk outside of the bar and you're stumbling, that's okay. But if you but I guess if you start shouting and you start I don't know, picking fights, because I mean, from my experience in Europe, there are a lot of people were picking on fights and they were just shouting, but it seems normal, right? It seems normal in that society. But I guess for us here in the Philippines, it's you won't be looked down on, but people will start looking at you like, why can't this guy control his alcohol? Yeah.
I think in when we say Europe, we need to understand like there's so many different countries here. There's Spain, Italy, France, and they all
Yeah.
have a specific way of looking at these things. And even in those countries themselves, there's specific regions where maybe it's a little bit more tolerated, maybe it's not. But I understand over what you're trying to say.
Hmm.
My experience with this topic is not really. I can't really go too much in detail with it because I haven't really experienced it. Like it would be a lie for me to say I've experienced it in such a way that's affected my life.
Hmm.
I have friends who drink. I
Yeah.
drink as well, but it's not to that level of where I
Hmm.
can't control myself. I do see people who can't control themselves,
Hmm.
but for me personally, I don't know anyone in my life where it's gone to that stage where they need to actually seek help. And
Hmm.
I think this movie that you talked about, I'm really interested in it because
Hmm.
even though when we were talking about it earlier on, you just kind of gave me a quick review of it. But even just you just explaining it there, it's something that it almost sounds like a documentary.
It
So I mean, is it a documentary or is it
no,
just a
it
movie?
it's still a film. It's still a film. Yeah. But let's go right. Let's go to what you were saying. You were saying that you had friends who couldn't control it. So, how would you define someone who's alcoholic? Is someone alcoholic someone who cannot control their alcohol? Is that uh, your definition right away? If you see someone who can't control their alcohol, man, that guy's an alcoholic. Would you agree on that?
I wouldn't say. Well, first of all, my friends are actually okay. They can. I do have some acquaintances, of course, who
Mm-hmm.
can't. What I will say about for me, just a definition of somebody who physically needs it. I think it's a little bit different if you're somebody who likes getting drunk, likes to have fun. I mean, I think it's a very blurred line, but for me, it's,
Mm-hmm.
can you physically go without alcohol? Like, do you crave it? If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have it, do you get depressed? Do you get upset? That's
Mm-hmm.
really what I'm looking at now. For example, so if me and you are going on a night out and
Yeah.
it just happens that we drink a lot,
Yeah.
it's okay. But I don't drink on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't even drink on a Saturday again or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later, we're going on a night out again. I get drunk. Does that mean I have this issue that whenever I go out, I get drunk? I wouldn't really define. I mean, I don't know the specific definitions,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't define that. I would
Mm-hmm.
look at somebody who has an issue, somebody who drinks on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like they need to. If they don't have it, they feel off. If you understand what I'm trying to say. I
Is
think
you?
there's just a very clear difference between somebody who wants to go out and have fun
Mm-hmm.
and somebody who actually needs and craves it to have fun, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And not just to
Yeah.
have fun, but on a general basis to function properly. They feel like they need alcohol.
So basically, you would say that it's just like any other addiction, right? If your body seems to want it, even though you don't really need it, then that's something that's alcoholism, for example, if it were alcohol in this case.
Yeah, it gets a bit blurry because
Mm-hmm.
just because your
Gotcha.
body, like, I think, your mind can play tricks on you sometimes as well. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
I do believe if your body's craving it, you do have an issue, of course, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like some people who say, I can quit smoking anytime I want. It's not an issue for me. I can quit it anytime I want.
Yeah.
But can they really? If you understand what I'm trying to say.
I guess if you tempt them and they don't give in all the time, then that's not an addiction. But if you always tell them, "Hey, let's go out and drink," I don't know. I mean, sometimes some people can't resist. They just can't turn down their friends because they say, "Hey, let's go out and drink." No, I can't say no because you're my friend. But if you start drinking on your own and like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the supermarket today. I'm gonna get 6 packs of beer, the 6 pack beers, let's say Heineken, and I'm just gonna drink." Is that something you would say? Would that be an alcoholic if he's always looking for alcohol every day because he's just stressed out of work and he's got so many problems, I guess.
I mean, if you needed to de-stress, I don't. This is why it's such a tricky thing, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
very subjective because if you needed
Mm-hmm.
to de-stress
Yeah.
and you find yourself going back to that, then is there, you can say it's a bad way to distress yourself, but I'll give an
Mm-hmm.
example. If
Yeah.
it's the only way that you can distress, okay, actually, let me take that back. Let's say
Sure.
you're not stressed anymore,
Yeah.
and then they stop taking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Were they ever an alcoholic then? Because now they don't take it anymore because they're not stressed anymore. So it's
Yeah.
just for me, like, I haven't looked too much into the topic, but there's just so many different variables that I would consider before I tag someone as this. I had a friend who said he was addicted to this type of snack, and I remember saying to him, "You're crazy! Like, don't be saying, like, don't be throwing the word addiction around like lightly."
Mm-hmm.
But he told me that, well, you don't understand because I would buy it every day. Like for nearly, 8 months straight, I was eating this. Like at least
Yeah.
6 times. I could not function properly without this then, He made it seem
Mm-hmm.
like it was like coffee. So
Yeah.
at that point I really had to like take a step back and say, do I need to kind of like broaden my understanding of what addiction entails? Just
Mm-hmm.
because it's not killing you per se, and just because you're not talking to someone about it, just because it's not affecting your life in such a negative way, but because he's saying that, like, no, I had cravings, I could not get away from this, so I have to say, okay, fine, he's addicted. Well, I mean, I didn't say that. I just told him, okay, if you say you are, then you are. Like, you know yourself better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So I think
Definitely.
whenever we come to these definitions, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just me freestyling, because of
Yeah.
course we can really just go online and really search and see what each specific group would say about this topic. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has their own experience and they have their own opinion and now their definition. But yeah, I mean, this is something. It could be a personal question, and you could always get something out of your own experience, right? I mean, with your friends, with yourself. So yeah, I mean, thanks for those insights. I mean, from your insight.
I actually,
Yeah.
I got a question for you though. Like,
Okay.
is there a lot of support help? I think that's the main thing. You know,
Uh huh.
we all have issues,
Yeah.
but does your city, does your country provide the right support to help you get back on your feet?
Actually, in the Philippines, we don't really have a problem with alcoholism. We have more problems with depression and with suicides. We have more of those because, well, I don't know. It's probably an Asian thing. I don't wanna conclude it, but I mean, Japan. and the Philippines, Korea, that's something that's really common more often, just depression and suicide. But alcohol is not really a problem. But if you're talking about support, um, I haven't heard of any alcohol support groups. I'm sure there's some religious groups out there supporting alcoholics. I'm sure there are. If that's something, because as you know, we're all Catholics. We're almost all of us are Catholics here in the Philippines. So usually in parishes and in local parishes, there's really support groups for people who divorced, separated, or those who just got an abortion. Anything to support people who had just gone through, um, yeah, this ordeals. Yeah. So, is it the same in Ireland? Is there a? Yeah, I mean, does the government have a specific agency or what department that takes care of alcoholics
You know,
or
I
yeah.
think for me to really answer that question,
Mm-hmm.
yes, they do. But I think
Mm-hmm.
for me to even really answer that question, I would have said I would have had to compare it to other countries that have maybe a similar issue to see if we're actually doing a great job at
if
it.
you, if you would compare Ireland to the rest of Europe, how does Ireland fare there?
Unfortunately, I can't even answer that because I don't know how the rest of Europe deals with it. You know, I really
Oh,
don't. It's not a topic I've really looked into, to be
okay.
honest. That's why
Yeah.
as soon as you mentioned this to me, the topic, I was thinking, why you gotta drop something so heavy straight away? Like I don't know this thing, man. Yo, we're talking about video games. Like, why are you talking about this? You know,
uh,
I think maybe
all
just
right.
the unfortunate thing is that I'm not as knowledgeable as I would actually like to be, and maybe one of the I think the good thing about what this topic now is that it is making me interested to find out how we deal with it, how
Mm-hmm.
society deals with it, how like our European neighbors deal with it, and even how other countries, in the east and in the west deal with it as well. But
Yeah.
I just don't have the data right now um to actually answer your question. But we do have support groups 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could have this in a different podcast and like expound on it more when we're all in the headspace for it.
What I
Just
what I want to know is the movie
yeah.
though.
Uh-huh.
Like, did it do well ratings wise?
It just came out last year, 2020, and it seemed to have it won a couple of awards. I'm just not sure which awards specifically, but I watched this movie because Mads Mikkelsen is one of my favorite actors. He's a Danish actor. He starred in Casino Royale. He was Le Chiffre. If have you watched? You've watched Casino Royale, of course, right?
Yeah, of course, man.
Yes.
Great movie.
So his main antagonist right there, that guy with that mannerism of he had this asthma inhaler, and then he had this his left eye was just it looked like it was fake, but he looked like he was a formidable antagonist and a villain in the movie. And ever since I've watched him in that film, I've watched his other films, and I've always liked his performance. And I said, like, I want to be like this guy when I grow up, like when I become 40, or when I turn 40 or 50. I want to be like this guy. He looks like a complete gentleman, like, and I've been a fan ever since. So this is his latest film, and I didn't expect the film to be like that. I thought it was going to be a comparison of adult drinking with kids drinking, but it turned out to be it covered a broad topic about alcoholism, and it starts out really calm, and then it becomes dark, and it becomes just wow. It becomes a roller coaster. And yeah, and then I just, I had myself thinking after the film, is this really how it all starts? If you're an alcoholic, just do you think you could control it and mm, uh like take out some benefit off of it? But then in this film, it obviously they couldn't control their alcohol. And yeah, that's just where it all started.
It really reminds me of I think that documentary where the guy said "Super Size Me" with
Mm.
the McDonald's one,
Mhm.
and that's why when you were describing it, I felt okay. This sounds more like a movie because no, sorry, it sounds more like a documentary. Just
Mhm.
because the idea is it's good, but if you tell me this was reality, this was a
Yeah.
documentary, I think I'm more interested
Mhm.
because with the whole idea of a movie, you can basically make your own you can basically create your own ending. You can say they got addicted, they didn't get addicted. I'm sure they did the research onto it, so I'm not gonna
Oh yeah. Yeah.
point my fingers too much. But it's just if you had actually told me that there was five guys who decided to drink every day,
Mhm.
which is crazy because obviously
No,
you
but
will probably become an alcoholic, but to
yeah,
keep it at a specific level
exactly. Yeah.
and then to then say how did they fare in the real world, like how are their relationships affected, and if you can actually show me how person X fared per person Y, person B, person A, I'm really interested in that.
Do
And
watch it. Do watch it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'll watch it already just because it sounds interesting. But if it was a documentary, for sure I'm there 100%.
Okay. So
Because the
just
super seismic guy, I thought he was crazy, and he just kept going and going, and I'm like,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, listen, we do things for science, don't we?
Exact. And that's where I'm going at for my last question. If you think that this this research, these findings, that by maintaining 0.05% of alcohol, given that you have like an inhaler, right, to measure your alcohol level, and you have all these equipment to like portable equipment for you to find out, okay, I'm having 0.5% alcohol level, and these findings tell you, hey, by having 0.05% alcohol level, you can be motivated, you can be always happy, and you can be a lot more productive at your work. Would you actually do this? Do you think you would succumb to being an alcoholic in the end, or like how would you imagine yourself
I
if you
would
if you
find it very hard to believe because it
okay.
is a suppressant, isn't it? It's a depressive.
Yeah, it's a
Like it
depressant,
is.
yeah.
So I don't know how you're gonna be happy if that's gonna be the case.
No,
So for
that's why.
me, I would also look
Yeah.
at it in a different way. I would say
Okay.
like, aren't there other alternatives that are safer and better that can give me the same feeling for a fact?
No, no, let's say this research is hundred
Okay, so
percent
we're talking
backed by science.
hypothetically.
Yeah, let's say it's backed up by science 100%, that by drinking this level of alcohol you can be at your best, or you can be you can be very productive.
And
Would you
what
even
about
try it?
the consequences?
No, I mean, would you try it? I mean,
Would I
taking
try
into
it?
account everything, taking into account that this might happen, but the promise of you being productive, how does it all, yeah, how does it all sound to you?
I'm very skeptical about these things. I think it's a placebo, but let's say for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
okay, I will try it for sure. I wouldn't go too crazy. Maybe, and if it works, maybe at some point I just think, why don't people just make this into a pill? Like, oh, this pill has X amount of alcohol content. You just take one dose and voila. What's that movie called again with the guy?
Which one? The drugs
The guy,
movie?
no, he takes the pill and he becomes extremely like
Ah,
he starts freaking doing
lim
stocks and everything.
Limitless. Yeah.
Limitless, yeah. Man, if you told me that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm taking it 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, if
It,
you did tell me that was the case, then yeah, we'll take it. Like, if we take alcohol just, to relax and just to have fun, and you tell me you can take it and you can be a lot more productive, and you start, investing in stocks and getting those gains, why
mm-hmm.
not? Like
Yep.
100%, you take it.
Because I do.
Honestly, you give me a
I'm.
business idea because right now I'm thinking like, yeah, if that's the case, I'll just make it into a pill and call it something like
Mhm.
super pill. I'll call it the limitless pill. So there you go.
Yeah. Because I'm actually scared. I'm also skeptic. I'm like, even if this was backed by research, I would still feel like what if I can't control it anymore? I mean, who is going to tell me that I'm having too much already? I mean, even if I do have that inhaler to measure my alcohol level, who is to say that I won't drink some more because I feel so good by drinking this certain level of alcohol, right?
Bro,
And
listen, I got you.
yeah.
Check out my my limitless pill
My
that gives you the specific amount of alcohol content. You just take one pill a day and you're good to go. You don't need to worry about anything else. And we make it taste bad too, so you don't feel like taking another pill. That's the way to go. I mean, I'm sorry I'm messing up your
no,
story here by giving you the answer, but no, you are right. If isn't that how people get into drugs as well? You feel good about yourself, you feel great, and then and maybe you become more productive. If you're an artist,
mm,
maybe that's how you become creative. Maybe that's how you chill. That's how you get into the
perhaps.
mood, into the zone, and then unfortunately you just want more and you want more and you want more, and that's how it kind of spirals out of control. So yeah, you're
But
right.
yeah.
You won't be able to control it until
Yeah,
I mean, you don't really know. Like, I think everybody reacts to these things very differently. Some people
of
can,
course.
control themselves, and some people just can't. Like, I'm not a drinker. I'm not the person who's gonna be drinking on a normal basis. But I'll go out and I'll drink. But at the same time, I see how some people react to these things. They take one or two, and then that's it for them. It's like they just can't stop. They just keep going and going and going. So yeah.
I guess we could leave that to another topic, addiction in general. I guess we could end the podcast right here. I think I don't know, we went so many ways with this topic. I think this was good. I think this was good. It's an open conversation, and we're just really just pouring out all our thoughts and opinions and experiences, and we do come to a conclusion, or we do come to certain understanding of what it is. So it's good. We're ending my first podcast here. Thank you so much, Tai. Do check out his YouTube channel as well. What was it again? What was the title of the channel?
Man, if
Tai?
it's right now it's called Thai Chats, but just because of the way the algorithm works and the fact that people have the names, I might have to change it again. But yeah, you can check it out, Thai
Yeah.
Chats. We talk about gaming.
Hmm.
I was gonna say sports, but no, gaming, technology, and cinema.
Yeah.
And for the film aspect, you see Mark there a lot. He's my go-to guy for anything that has to do with the screen. So, thanks again for having me, man.
Yeah.
Really very good topic. It was very different. I thought we were going to do gaming, but you pulled us out of the out of the hat. So,
Yeah.
but it was good stuff, and it was your first one. I have to say, it was
Yeah.
really good. So, yeah, great stuff.
Okay, thanks, man, and yeah, do watch out for my next podcast. I have a list already. I just need to find the day in which I can talk about that specific topic. So thank you once again for this first podcast, and I do hope you continue listening to my next ones, and do check out Thai Chat's channel. So thank you, and yep, that's it. That's a wrap. It's a wrap.